What's up, guys? Today I'm just here to give my first impressions on Legend ZA. Obviously, that dropped Thursday, 16th, and I have played a little bit of it, just like enough to kind of give me some initial thoughts, opinions. Nothing too in depth or spoilery, so don't worry about that. And I gotta say, I'm like kind of pleasantly surprised. Obviously, Nintendo's kind of had a lot of negative press for them in general lately, whether it be the pricing of the certain games or, some of their other practices or whatnot. Obviously, they're not too much in the beloved spotlight of the public right now. So, with that being said, I feel like people definitely are just looking for negative things to harp on or point out, and not that they're above criticism, even if they weren't getting just general negative feedback from the community. But I do think that people are definitely going harder on things. So people were complaining about the graphics and looks of this game and how it just still looked like crap, the JPEG balconies and whatnot, and those are still, like I said, valid critiques for sure. No company's above legit criticism, but I'm enjoying the game so far. It's giving the most modern feeling Pokemon game, and I basically what people thought we should be getting with Sword and Shield, as far as the explorability, and it's a home console, there's so much you can do now. And then were the models 3D? Were they a little bit, bigger and more in-depth than a 3DS game or whatever? Sure. But at its core, it's kind of still what it was, the wild area. I think that's what it was called. Whatever it was called. They really kind of catfished us with that, with the different environments. And, you're just kind of, it's the same general area pretty much, just kind of switches weather. So, I think people we're just expecting a lot out of that game that didn't end up being. And as far as right now, it's starting to kind of feel like that. Obviously, you're restricted to the city still. And I don't think there's a part where that changes, but if there is, I haven't gotten there yet. And honestly, the city just feels like what a city should have felt like on Sword and Shield. And I would agree with that sentiment a bit. I'm still enjoying the game for what it is. I love Pokemon, and maybe it's bad that I'm funding their bad practices and whatnot. Hey, call me out if you want to. I don't really care. I enjoy the series, and I do enjoy the game still. Are they not what they necessarily could be, or what some people say should be? For sure. But they're still putting out solid games, and you always see that years later. People have fond memories of Sword and Shield, and can look at it for the positives. They don't just bring up Dexit or the fucking tree that everyone was looking at. There are people now that have nostalgia for that game and for that region. And I think that is something that will always persist in Pokemon. Even with Scarlet and Violet, that game has its defenders. Still to this day, they'll tell you, does it run like crap? Yes, but there is a good game here at its core. And even that, I can kind of agree with. I hear people saying they like the story for that game. That blew me away. I thought that story fucking sucked. So, obviously, I think some of their other stuff that other people would say sucks is good. So, it's all your opinion. But yeah, just overall, this first 3 hours or so that I've played has made me actually pretty not impressed necessarily, but my expectations have been exceeded from the negative outlook I guess I may have let the internet kind of put in my mind. Just whenever you hear all those things about something, you can't help but necessarily start to think those same things. And so I would say man, if I had no online exposure to what people thought, I think that I would be overjoyed at this game, honestly. Obviously I still think I have my own opinions of this is definitely kind of lazy, especially with this extra power that supposedly should have been making this just a different experience. I'm talking about Sword and Shield. But I do think I'm enjoying this game, and had I had no negative impact from the internet, I'd be really liking this game. And maybe that's even a fucking lame ass thing to say. I'm realizing that as I say it. But I said, you can't help it. People can paint your perspective. It's the same thing when someone hypes up a movie or shits on a movie. If someone hypes a movie the fuck up and it's not that like fucking 10 the way they're talking about it, you're gonna have a negative opinion of it because you're looking for so much more. And same with like, yeah, if someone's shitting on a movie, you honestly might like go into it like looking for the bad aspects of it, and maybe you can come out of it with some enjoyment, but maybe you're also like now like more hyper vigilant of the negatives that they were maybe referencing. So, it's all perspective. We're all human, and that's just how it is. But if you guys have been playing it, let me know your thoughts. Are you happy? Do you think that this is, meeting your expectations? I don't think it's necessarily exceeding them for anyone, but let me know if that's the case, because all opinions are valid. So thanks for tuning in. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for stopping by.